This is Metrolink Insights.
So, in one of my previous videos I talked about a proposed Metrolink extension called the Airport Loop. I'm not very proud of that video, and I made a few small mistakes, including that the proposal was actually called the Wythenshawe Loop. I didn't look into my original ideas enough, and a few of you pointed out these issues to me, including the music. I was supposed to be answering the question, why is the airport line so slow, but I ignored the fact that it doesn't have to be not slow. Sure, it's a bit disappointing that it's slower than the bus, but the purpose of the line really is to connect the areas that it serves to the rest of the network, rather than the destination itself. The Metrolink is designed so that it's easiest to travel between the centre of Manchester and its surrounding towns and other areas. Manchester Airport is quite a major airport and serves a much larger area of the UK than just Greater Manchester, but it's not a town centre, and most people just use the train anyway, as it's quite literally over 3 times faster. So why does the Metrolink go to the airport then? Well, as I mentioned before, the Metrolink line is primarily to connect the areas that it serves to the rest of the Metrolink network, including the centre of Manchester, but it's also to connect those same areas to the airport. Some people who do the latter actually work at Manchester Airport, and the tram line might have opened up opportunities for other people wanting jobs. And the bus is actually slower from these areas. The concern I showed for the speed of the entire route was because someone who hasn't visited Manchester before could easily board a tram without checking how long the tram takes, and for that reason I still think that the tram should be faster than 60 minutes, even if the train service is pretty frequent and fast and people know about it. So here's the idea. There were multiple separate proposals, like a short spur to Wythenshawe Hospital, and a line extension from the current Manchester Airport stop to Terminal 2. The remaining 2 proposals could just integrate into one single loop line, which is how the Wythenshawe Loop proposal was created, but it was shelved due to the cost. There was also another idea about extending this line further to Davenport Green to connect with a brand new high-speed 2 station, but those plans were cancelled a few years ago. The advantage of this loop line is that it shaves off at least 8 minutes of journey time, at least, to the airport, depending on how it's constructed. In the last video, I mentioned closing Roundthorne, which I still think is a good idea, because as stated in the GMITA report from 2010, Roundthorne's only purpose is to serve Wythenshawe Hospital, as it's too close to the other stops at Bagley and Martinscroft to ever have been constructed without another reason. Once the Wythenshawe Hospital stop is built, Roundthorne won't be needed, and this would also improve line speed both ways. After rising onto a bridge, a new stop south of Newall Green could also be built. A stop at Davenport Green won't be needed, because the HS2 plans were cancelled, it isn't a major residential area, and if redevelopment were to happen around here, the stop at Newall Green would serve them well enough. The line would continue and travel over a bridge to get to a possible stop at Airport West, serving the car rental, and continue on to Airport Terminal 2, and travel through a tunnel to get to the existing stop. Which no, does not need to be renamed, I don't know why I said that. This new idea for the Wythenshawe Loop actually saves 200 metres of track from being built, and it also means that one less tram stop needs to be constructed, saving around £2 million. The link between the Altrincham line and the airport line, which I mentioned in episode 4, is a bad idea, for a few reasons. It saves 3 minutes of journey time, and I said it saved 5 minutes. Someone in the comments also told me that bridging or tunnelling the M60 would be costly. It also wouldn't do much else for the Metrolink except serve the actual Sale Water Park closer than the current stop, so I decided to scrap the idea. I also mentioned changing which city crossing it runs through, which I also still think is a good idea if it's possible to implement, not just because it saves a few minutes of journey time, but also because the second city crossing was supposed to relieve tram congestion across the city, and it's only used by 2 routes serving the same stops. The first city crossing can also sometimes get congested between Piccadilly Gardens and St Peter's Square, but there still may be a specific reason why this change can't be done. So how much do these ideas actually speed up the route? I'll ignore temporary speed restrictions for now, which immediately takes off 3 minutes. Well, because of improvement works, the first city crossing has actually gotten a bit faster, so this actually only shaves off 1 minute of journey time this time. 39.5 minutes to the airport. I checked these calculations a few times, so they should be more accurate than they were last time, as I said that the journey time on the Wythenshawe loop would be about 9 minutes, when it was actually around 11 to 12 minutes with the idea that I had. And now it's 7.5 to 8 minutes. So there you go. This idea, unlike the previous idea, actually makes the journey 20 minutes faster, and will give the areas between Cornbrook and Bagley much faster connections to the airport. For example, journeys from Bollermore Road to the airport currently take 34 minutes. With the Wythenshawe loop, it gets cut down to 19 minutes. From Northern Moor, it takes 27 minutes. This idea would shorten the journey to 14 minutes. From Bagley, it currently takes 21 minutes. The loop shortens this to 8 minutes. The percentage of journey time cut down may not be that much from all the way back at Victoria Station at 34%, but it's definitely better down in the northern parts of Wythenshawe at about 50%. Travelling with lots of luggage on a tram that has limited space for 30 minutes isn't ideal, but it's just about bearable if the journey is sped up enough. There is also something else I wanted to talk about involving the JMITA report, about Crossacres and Robinswood Road. Only one of them should have ever been built, but for some reason both of them are in service. But that might be a story for another video. Subscribe if you like, and thanks for watching. The First City Crossing can also sometimes get congested also. The First City Crossing can also sometimes... okay.